Now, welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
Well, we're going to start, of course, with the Kathleen Kennedy news, because I
Yes.
haven't gotten to cover it on this channel.
No, I talked about it in a video on my channel yesterday. Yep.
I mean, it's kind of funny in a way, because you predicted, like, months ago, you're like, maybe they'll announce her retirement at Celebration, because people would be too polite to boo her there, and stuff like that.
Kinda, yeah.
And I feel like it's coming true.
I feel like, not to toot my own horn, but I think I was right because I said I'm not going to be surprised when, like, a month before Celebration, news kind of comes out that she's leaving. And then we get, like, a big interview with her. And then at Celebration, it is a celebration of Kennedy. I feel like the prophecy has come true.
Or they have so much other things, so many other things to announce at Celebration that they gloss over the Kennedy thing with so many other things to talk about that we don't really mention it too much.
Well, you're going to kind of try to do both, right? You're going to mention Kennedy, you're going to celebrate her, but what you want to do is, like, she's leaving, and certainly there are going to be people sad and who will miss her and who think she's done a fantastic job. But there are a lot of people who are, even if you think she did a good job, are keeping it real and are like, it's time to look forward. And so you announce her going, and at the same time you barrage us with a bunch of new stuff, and you're like, here is the future of Star Wars. Get excited.
Well, that would be exciting, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, that's the hope. I mean, I don't know how much
I need
that's
some
going to work or
excitement.
not. No, I agree. I mean, Star Wars is in a bad place. No matter what you want to say about Kennedy and her time, like, it is in a bad place. The numbers are bad. That cannot be argued.
I'm already disappointed that Andor's going to blow by in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday.
I know, but I really just, I liked being able to, like, enjoy and talk about Star Wars in a positive light for a longer period of time. To be like, 1 month. A lot of
it's the Andor Blitz.
Well, yeah, and a lot of, like, your family and stuff are more casual about Star Wars. So we'll be, like, done with the series and be like, "Have you started yet?" Well, I watched 2 episodes.
We'll get watching.
They're not gonna keep up.
No, they're not going to.
A lot of people aren't gonna keep up with 3 episodes a week, breakneck speed, and it's gonna be disappointing.
Yeah, it's an odd decision. We talked about it yesterday. I can see positive and negatives, but I still think it's just an odd decision, especially from the business side of things, where you're like, well, we want to keep people subscribed to our streaming service, so let's just clump everything up, put it all out at once, and not have them have to do that.
I know that they're having weird issues with their streaming service, that they were losing subscribers, and now they're doing something different with the ESPN bundles. Yeah, they're still grasping.
I don't think they have it figured out there, and the biggest problem is they don't have enough content. I mean, they have enough old content, but they don't put out enough new stuff to keep people subscribed for long periods of time. It's like, oh, a new Star Wars show, I'll subscribe for that month, and then I'm gone. Well, and they're helping those people now. It's just weird.
Well, it doesn't have to just be Star Wars. I mean, people will come in for Daredevil.
Oh, yeah, certainly, yeah.
You might get 2 months out of them. You could have had 3, 4 months out of them. If you had continual content or adding movies from the theater more frequently, you'd get
something, or just different shows too. Like, they don't have much when it comes to new shows.
It's a little disappointing. And anytime they try a new show, it gets weird. Like that Percy Jackson show.
It got weird.
Didn't go over very well.
I thought it did.
Well, it did, but yet people who like the book and stuff still say it's just not up to the standards.
Yeah, well, it rarely ever is.
Very rarely.
Sadly. Lord of the Rings is a rare exception of a movie that got translated very well.
From and the changes that were made, I think some of them, not all of them, some of them were improvements. Or understandable.
Most of them. There are a couple, but they're forgivable because of just how good it was overall. But anyway, let's not talk about Lord of the Rings right now.
Well, do you think Kathleen Kennedy leaving Lucasfilm, leaving all of this behind, do you think that's going to improve the quality of Star Wars, or is it one of those only time will tell? Will we finally find out how much hand in the pot she had?
It's an only time will tell, but I think, and I talked about this in my video, I think it is an opportunity, right? It is an opening of the door to the fans who are done. Like, I am done. I'm not watching this crap anymore. And a lot of them will put the little caveat, until Kennedy is gone. Though the other caveat is usually the sequel trilogy being retconned. But I do think you have their attention. You might not necessarily win them back, and just reading the comments in my video yesterday, there were a ton of them. The sentiment seems to be too little too late. Like, you already screwed it up. I don't care anymore. Even still, I think those fans are going to, not all of them, I'm not trying to put words in their mouth, but I think there is this glimmer of hope somewhere down deep in most Star Wars fans that whoever comes in can get it right this time. They may not fully believe, but they want to believe.
All right, let's talk about something else that I got wind of. Brian T., who most of us don't really know, he is the voice actor who voiced the mysterious Ronin in Star Wars Visions. He was doing an interview. He was talking to Collider at some award show, the Independent Spirit Awards, and they asked him if he was interested in revisiting the Star Wars universe, either as his Visions character or perhaps in another capacity. His response is interesting to say the least. He said, "Oh, absolutely, no question. And I think you know, I don't want to give any spoilers, but we are definitely in the works right now. I'm probably doing something in the near and distant future, and I'll probably stop there before I go any further."
He's probably already in trouble.
He's in trouble already.
Lucasfilm's
You know it.
already sent out the Viper droids to hunt him down.
And the duel was so popular that they brought out the book Ronin,
They did, yeah.
and they also did a little comic run
Yeah.
based around the duel. So I'm very interested in what he has to say, and I'm sure we'll find out more at Celebration. But does
Probably.
this mean, is the project with the Ronin continuing?
It's either the Ronin or it's something else, probably in the realm of anime. Because, hey, we've talked about it a lot of times on this channel and elsewhere. Like, anime is a growing medium here in the United States. Obviously, it's been popular abroad in Japan for a while and other countries. But here it is exploding, I think. Manga is exploding.
Oh yeah,
And it's with
manga, manhwa, yeah.
And it's generally with the younger audiences that Star Wars, I would say, has had trouble reaching and capturing. So if you can't bring them to you, you go where they are, and they are at manga and anime. So why not embrace that if you're Lucasfilm and Star Wars?
Not to mention, I think that the projects in Visions, several of them that did really well, used those animation styles.
Yeah, I think overall, I think Visions is really good. Most of them are really good, and
Very
you're like, why
original
don't
and
they
beautiful
just?
stories, yes.
Yeah, why don't they do more like this? This is an interesting way to explore the Star Wars galaxy.
Not to mention, a lot of them actually seem to fit in to Star Wars pretty decently. You could
Yeah.
find cracks in the canon that these
Sure.
stories could actually fit in and not feel out of place.
I think Star Wars lends itself well to not only animation or anime style, but just the general stories anime usually kind of tells, right? I think it just fits. It's a perfect fit, you could argue.
Yeah, that's one thing that I always loved about anime when I was younger, is you could watch you watch an American cartoon. They were very formulaic. The good guys always won, the bad guys always lost. No one was really hurt. Anime was, you throw the cards and you see what happens. Sometimes good didn't win, or if good won, there was a terrible price to pay. Terrible, terrible losses.
Which fits into Star Wars, doesn't it? Usually when the good guys win, there's a price to be paid. It's not just a matter of, oh, we won, everything is happy and everybody is perfectly fine now.
One anime my dad and I always disagreed on was, it's called X, and I don't know if anyone's going to watch it because I said the name of it, so I don't care about spoilers here. Well, X kind of ends on this weird note. The protagonist has to, like, murder his best friend, who was his best friend his whole life, but his best friend was on the opposing force that he was on, it turned out.
Is his name Anakin or Obi-Wan?
No.
Okay.
But in order to, like, claim their swords, like, his best friend had to murder, like, the girl he loved.
I thought you were going to say a room full of children. I was like,
No.
that would have been interesting.
But it was sad because, like, the end scene of the movie, he's holding the severed head of his friend that he killed, and he's crying. And it's sad. But he saved the world. Without him doing this, without this death, the world would have ended. So it's one of those really bittersweet things, because he lost his entire world. He lost everything to save the world. And so it's one of those things that makes you think.
Well, yeah, that sounds like it fits in very well with Star Wars because, as I was kind of jokingly pointing out, like, there are parallels there between Anakin and Obi-Wan, right? Anakin's, you were my brother, Anakin, or Obi-Wan saying that, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, he's got to do what he's got to do. He's got to kill his best friend to
But
save the
did.
galaxy. Well, he thought he did.
It wasn't as definitive as X, let me say.
Well, yeah, he wasn't carrying the severed head of his friend Anakin.
There was a lot of, sadness in that anime, but the whole thing was for the world, and the world was saved, but the losses were so great, you wonder, it makes you wonder, should he have? I mean, should he have just succumbed and been with the people he loved? He lost everything for people he doesn't know.
You are very much
rough.
touching on Star Wars
interesting.
themes right there. Yeah.
So I think things like that, I think the animation style really could bring more people in, and that's what I'd like to see in Star Wars.
No, I think you could definitely continue with Clone Wars animation, but I think there is a lot of room for anime and Star Wars.
Definitely.
Again, hand in hand, glove in hand, whatever you want to call it, but it needs to happen. And maybe we're about to hear about some of it.
Maybe. Celebration's coming.
Yeah. All right, well, that is going to be all we got for you this time. Now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell us what you think of any and all of today's news, and let's talk some Star Wars. And so until next time, thanks for watching.